Greetings, my name is Monty Martin.
And I'm Kelly McLaughlin.
And we are the Dungeon Dudes. Welcome. This has been a very stressful and depressing 2 weeks.
If you're not up to date on the news regarding the open gaming license for Dungeons & Dragons, you can check out our video covering the topic right up over there, and we'll have links in the description below on some of the other people who have made incredible videos covering all of the news that's been coming out. It seemed like the news has been changing hour to hour, day by day for the last 2 weeks, so we've been doing our best to stay on top of it. And in the meantime, we've had to make a lot of decisions regarding Dungeon Dudes and our future.
Bear in mind, however, that everything that we talk about in this video today could be subject to change. Wizards of the Coast's meager and tone-deaf statement that they released on Friday last week completely failed to offer anything concrete to the community or creators that we can actually rely on. Until we see the official, real, legal documents about the shape of what the open gaming license, 1D&D, and even D&D Beyond are going to look like going forward, it's very hard for us to commit to anything as content creators, as authors, as designers, and as players as well of this hobby. That said, Kelly and I know one thing for sure.
We love Dungeons & Dragons. Even if we're upset with the company that owns the brand, the game itself and what it represents doesn't belong to them.
Kelly and I became friends because we played Dungeons & Dragons together. We have built our own community and some of our close friendships with Jill and Joe, and even with our partners Kirsten and Shay, over playing Dungeons & Dragons and enjoying tabletop role-playing games. It's something that we're really passionate about, and we love exploring fantasy worlds, talking about this game, and creating content for it. I want to reiterate, Kelly and I became friends because we worked together and had conversations on our breaks about spellcasting, necromancers, and monsters for D&D. And so for us, D&D is something really, really special because it's more than just the brand that is owned by Hasbro. It's something deeply personal. And I also want to say, as a reminder to all of you, and also as a reminder to those who think they own Dungeons & Dragons, is that the books are not Dungeons & Dragons. A website is not Dungeons & Dragons. Dungeons & Dragons is not a miniature. It is not a set of dice. Dungeons & Dragons is not a poster. Dungeons & Dragons is not a live stream. Dungeons & Dragons is not a product. It is no more of those things than this copy of Sophocles represents a production of Oedipus Rex. Those are words on a page. They give you some instructions and some ideas. But like the script of a play, the rule books of Dungeons & Dragons are not Dungeons & Dragons. They're, at best, a skeleton. Dungeons & Dragons only happens when people gather around kitchen tables, in living rooms, in Zoom calls and Discord to play Dungeons & Dragons. It only happens when it is being played. And because Dungeons & Dragons only happens when it is being played, no one person or company can ever own it. And no one can take it away from us, the people who love it.
Millions of people all over the world are already playing Dungeons & Dragons. They don't need new books or new editions. Several people even play older editions and will forever. Dungeons & Dragons isn't the books that you buy. It's the community around it and the adventures that all of those people go on in their living rooms and homes or online with their friends. Dungeons & Dragons is about the players, the dungeon masters, the friendships that are forged at those tables, and the stories that are told in a shared environment. These are the elements that are important to Dungeons & Dragons, and these are what made us fall in love with the game. So when we talk about being upset with the brand, we need to keep in mind that we still adore what this game has given us. And I think that that's a very important differentiation to make, because I'm going to continue to love the experiences that I've had with Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm going to hope that in the future I can continue to have new, incredible stories to tell in the worlds at my own table, in my living room, with my group of friends.
Kelly and I aren't going to stop playing Dungeons and Dragons. We aren't going to stop talking about Dungeons and Dragons, and we certainly aren't going to stop creating things about Dungeons and Dragons. If we stop, if we allow what has happened to poison the well, then what were we fighting for in the first place? So many third-party creators got up in arms because they love this game too, and they love creating this game too. They've built their livelihoods, careers, and businesses on creating things for this game. And these people, the players, the creators, the people who love Dungeons & Dragons, deserve our support now more than ever. Countless third-party creators making books and supplements for 5th edition were left in the lurch by this news. There are projects that are in process. There are projects that are pending. There are projects that are planned years from now. And all of those things have had a shadow cast over them. It is up to us to guide those through to the light by championing third-party creators, especially those that are choosing to stick with 5th edition, because that's what they've committed to for existing projects.
Continuing to play Dungeons & Dragons and supporting third-party publishers and creators shows those who think they own the game who really owns the game. It's us, it's the players, it's the people who are passionate about it. So, as we move forward, I don't think this game should die, but I think that we should show our admiration and support for all of the incredible third-party products that are out there and let those expand and grow the games at our homes.
That said, we are hurt and betrayed by the actions of the company that owns this brand, and we are concerned about their commitment to actually listen to this community and deliver on their claims that they are listening. I do want to draw the distinction, though, between the higher-ups at Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast who made these decisions and the people who actually work on the game there. Many of these people bore a lot of harassment, despite the fact that, for most of them, they had nothing to do with these decisions, and in many cases represented some of the whistleblowers who let the community know what was going on. It is important, in this moment, that we direct our anger, our mistrust, and our criticism at those who deserve it, and support those who actually create and love this game. I have my doubts regarding the higher-ups at Hasbro and Wizards can ever be trustworthy stewards of this game again, and whether they can do anything to repair the goodwill that they burned recklessly to the ground. In that respect, Kelly and I have a cautious plan of what we intend to do going forward.
To help us make this decision, over the last couple of weeks, we've ran several polls on our social media channels, in our YouTube community, and through our Patreon as well. With those polls, we asked a few simple questions. First, what other TTRPGs might you like to see represented on this channel? And second, how much D&D 5e content do you wish to continue to see from us? Along with these polls, we saw a lot of comments come in, and we were avidly reading those comments. And we want to thank everybody not only for contributing to these polls, but for the outpouring of support and kindness. We heard so many stories of people saying that our videos are what got them into Dungeons and Dragons in the first place, and so many of those people voiced the opinion that they'll follow us no matter what content we create. We were deeply humbled and incredibly blown away by that level of support and kindness from our community, and so we just want to thank all of you for your continued support and believing in us for continuing to put our passion into what we do.
When we put up our poll on YouTube, here's what the responses said. What this shows us is that about 89% of you out there watching videos on our channel and participating in this poll are still interested in seeing some form of 5e or D&D related content on this channel. To the small number of people who are not interested in any 5e content anymore, I hope that our earlier words give you some perspective on the reasons why we are going to continue moving forward with making 5th edition content. But there's going to be some changes regardless.
There's also been a significant amount of people interested in hearing about other TTRPGs on our channel. And so, with great interest, we look to what other TTRPGs we might be interested in covering. But at the end of the day, we know D&D 5e best. It's where we've put a lot of time and effort into becoming experts. As we venture into new TTRPGs, we're going to have to learn new systems and try to gain the knowledge level that we have with those that we already have with 5th edition.
In other words, we got to play a lot of games, which is exciting, but also kind of daunting.
Yeah.
Because we play a lot of games as it is. So it's something that we both look forward to as an experiment, and I hope that we'll be able to keep it all in our minds.
It will take us some time before we can cover other systems at the same capacity that we cover D&D 5e, but you can expect to see videos from us in the future about what systems we're trying out, what our initial thoughts of them were, and whether or not we recommend them or who we recommend them to.
Kelly and I put out about 6 videos a month on the channel, sometimes more, sometimes less. Going forward, we're going to make 2 to 3 of those 6 videos every month dedicated to non-Dungeons & Dragons TTRPG topics. These might be system-neutral videos that are useful to dungeon masters or game masters running any sort of game, or they might be spotlights on other systems, and as we learn more systems and find more that we really enjoy, we might come back to them time and time again on a recurring basis.
Regarding our Dungeons & Dragons content that we are going to continue to make on this channel, there will be a shift in that as well. We will be looking at the great backlog of third-party published content available for the game and highlighting those great books, what they bring to the game, and we get to look at new monsters and subclasses and everything that these third-party publishers have created for this beautiful game. Luckily, that's something that we have not covered on this channel, so there's a lot of content there for us to look at.
So in that respect, you can expect build guides, videos, and ranking videos that are going to look at the subclasses, spells, and classes created by third-party publishers, such as Ghostfire Gaming and Kobold Press.
As well, we did film 2 videos prior to all of this going down. We filmed a Battle Master build guide, as well as the final video in our cantrips tier ranking. We are going to be releasing those videos next week to finish that up. Also, going forward, as well as looking at third-party content, we had a number of other tier ranking and build guides from existing content that we already have. So we are going to continue making those videos as well because they'll help those that already own the D&D books get inspired for new ideas to bring new characters to life.
You may have also noticed that many of our videos have Amazon affiliate links in the video description to many official D&D products. Over the next 2 or 3 weeks, Kelly and I are going to go through the hundreds of videos on our channel and remove all of those affiliate links from every single video. That is going to take a lot of time, so bear with us while we do that. And if you know a way to automate that, let us know. But we're going to be replacing those links to store pages for our own products and other great products by third-party publishers instead. We don't know if we are going to cover anything about 1D&D, the Honor Among Thieves movie, or any future official first-party releases for D&D. That really depends on the actions of Wizards of the Coast, whether or not we talk about those things at all.
There's still a great avenue to continue talking about everything that has currently been released for 5th edition prior to this, and as well focus on looking at new RPGs. We not only are excited to try new RPGs, there's a number that we have talked about for years. And there's a possibility that you could see one-shots from us in the future, trying out new systems. Specifically, the most talked about system from our polls was Pathfinder 2nd Edition. And Monty and I have both picked up the starter set and the core book of Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Now,
as an aside, when I went to our local game store here in Toronto, this was the last copy The shelf was empty of Pathfinder rulebooks.
So Pathfinder's getting a pretty big pull
Yeah.
these days. And one thing to note, though, is that Pathfinder is entirely new to us. So
We have not played Pathfinder 2nd Edition once. So it's going to take us time to acclimatize and decide if it's the right system for us and the types of games that we play and the types of games that we enjoy. But we hope that you'll learn with us.
as we go through the learning process, we might release a few videos of opening up the starter box set, or maybe Kelly and Monty's first character that they make in Pathfinder 2. Might not be as expert as our characters for Dungeons and Dragons, but we're going to try our best. And from there, we'll learn with each other and see where we can go with this game. If it's doing well on the channel and if people seem to care about this sort of content, then we'll keep learning other systems and expanding our knowledge base into the great RPGs out there. I myself am very excited to try out Mothership or the Alien RPG, and there's so many other systems that people have been talking about that sound really interesting.
In the meantime, though, Fate of Drakkenheim is going to continue as a 5th edition campaign. We have no intention of converting it to another system midstream, especially not at high levels of play. Sebastian Crow's Guide to Drakkenheim, which is currently almost done. We're going through all the playtesting feedback still, and we're supposed to be working on that all month, but has a little bit hard to focus on that given the news. That's going to continue forward as a 5th edition product, unless circumstances beyond our control say it absolutely can't be. People have asked us if we would consider converting Dungeons of Drakkenheim and Sebastian Crow's Guide to Drakkenheim into other systems. That's a very interesting idea, but let's finish the projects that we have out the door right now. Once we know exactly where the winds are blowing, how things shake out, and once the project that we've already committed to is finished, we can consider in the future how we'll make sure that adventurers will always be able to risk their lives in the ruins of Drakkenheim.
As a final note, it's been really encouraging to see the support of our community, and I want to say that this does feel like a great and exciting time to try new systems and learn about games that I've been looking at for a very long time but haven't had the time to dig into. Not only that, but the truth is that in my heart, Dungeons & Dragons was one of the very first TTRPGs I ever got to experience, and I really did fall in love with it. And we've heard people online say things like, darn, I just got so many books for D&D for Christmas, or, oh, now's a terrible time for me to have just started a home campaign with my friends. And to those people I want to say, it's not a terrible time. I know that things are messy right now, but the books you've gotten and the friends that you've brought together are still important. And this is still a game that you can experience at your table. You may not buy many new books, but luckily there's a lot of older books out there and a lot of friends and a large community that might be willing to share ideas or homebrew, as well as great third-party publishers that can add to your game in incredible ways. So, although we may not be willing to support the larger company who's making the official content, there's still so many places to go to enjoy what this game has to offer. And I want to encourage those people who think that they're at a loss for their recent purchases or gifts that they received or the friends that they're talking to, and say that there's still a wonderful community out there, and there's still so many ways to engage with this game and bring it to life at your tables in ways that will be memorable for your entire life.
And I also want to thank all of the other creators who really fought hard to protect that. Linda Cadega of Gizmodo, D&D Shorts, Ted at Nerd Immersion. There was amazing videos that were put out and comments that were made on Twitter and other social media by Mark Holmes and Ginny D, Crick Crab. We've been in conversation with so many other creators here on YouTube that have been really at the forefront of this, reporting on the latest updates multiple times a day. I also want to thank the publishers who are all involved in the open D&D petitions and all the various other people. There were so many people were participating to make and amplify these voices. It is hard to actually encapsulate everybody. So my apologies for not listing everybody, because there's a lot. And I am so humbled by that, especially by the bravery of people who put themselves out there. In particular, the bravery of those who did come forward as whistleblowers on this issue and broke these stories. It takes an incredible amount of courage to do that, and those people deserve our respect and admiration for defending this hobby and defending this community.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this message. And we hope that you continue to enjoy the content that we will create on this channel, whether it be highlighting third-party publishers or new systems, or continuing to talk about what we love about D&D.
We love Dungeons & Dragons. We love the community that has emerged around it. We love the adventures that we go on together with our friends. We love the other creators that we've been able to collaborate on. And we love making worlds, characters, stories, adventures, and magic for this game. That is something that can never be taken away from us, and something that we will always enjoy and cherish, and most of all, share. All right, I feel good about that. Yeah. But Ted from Nerd Immersion just posted this. There's a new statement on D&D Beyond.
Should we keep the cameras rolling?
I guess so. Okay. So what does it say? It's from Kyle Brink, the executive producer on D&D. Let me start with an apology. We are sorry. We got it wrong. Yeah. You better. Yeah, you did. Our language and requirements in the draft OGL wasn't a draft. We're disruptive to creators and support our core goals of protecting... Yeah, it wasn't a draft. Your language and requirements were disruptive. Okay, so... there's going to be a new proposed OGL on Friday, January 20th. The changes will have no impact to the video content, the accessories for your content, non-published works, VTT content, DM's Guild content, your OGL 1.0A content. Nothing will impact any content you've published under OGL 1.0A. They will always be licensed under OGL 1.0A. There will be no royalty or financial reporting requirements. You will continue to own your content with no license back requirements. Well, we'll see what happens on Friday, I guess.
So we've read the article over. We'll have links to the article in the description of this video. Surprise, we just finished filming our video, and there it is. I guess what I'll say about this is it sounds like they're trying to do damage control and trying to take steps in the right direction. I hope they continue to take steps in the right direction and realize that damage control is going to need to happen for a while in order to repair this. But I appreciate that they said sorry. And now let's see where they go from here.
Have you ever done one of those trap dungeons where every floor tile is trapped and there's only specific floor tiles that you can step on to get across the room? Right now, Wizards, you have entered one of those rooms where every floor tile is a spike trap and there's only specific tiles that you can step on to get across the room. I hope you understand that. So tread carefully, and see you on Friday. In the meantime, I'm going to get on Discord and Twitter because I got to see what everyone's saying about this.
Yeah. So we'll see you on the internet. We'll see. We still have the videos to release next week, and Monty and I are actually both out of town for a few days. So we are going to continue as planned, but we might have more to say on this soon once we get back from our trips.
Thank you all so much. I'll see you in the dungeon.